Hello to all you magic makers out there. It is Marissa DiAradia, your host, and welcome to Touch of Magic, where we talk about everything magic, mystical, mysterious, and metaphysical. Today is Witch Talk Wednesday, and today we will be talking with some of the leadership of the Sanctuary of Solace. We have Priestess Laura Lynn and Priest Naeem. Am I saying it right? Um,
Nahim, yes.
yeah, Naeem. Okay, and we were supposed to have Priestess Novembre also here, but she is having some technical difficulty. She may jump in if she can get in. And and there she is. Okay.
Yay!
Hooray, hooray. Okay. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a background on the guests that we have here today. So all three of them are the leadership of the Sanctuary of Solace, which is a local group here in Las Vegas. And Priestess Laurelyn is an initiated first and second degree Wiccan priestess through a local Wiccan group. She's also an ordained priestess of Sekhmet. She's been practicing Wicca for over 30 years. She actually went through and completed the ordination program at the Temple of Goddess Spirituality under the guidance of Priestess Candace Ross. She was briefly the resident priestess at the temple when Candace Ross stepped down, but now she has joined with Naeem and Novembre to form the Sanctuary of Solace. She really wanted to have a place where everybody felt welcome to worship Sekhmet in their own way. Then we have Priestess Novembre, who is Candace Cant, PhD. Hi, Candace. I'm so glad you made it. She's a pagan adherent of goddess spirituality. She's a devotee of the ancient Egyptian goddess Sekhmet, and she also served as a priestess to Sekhmet at the Temple of Goddess Spirituality. And then we have Priest Naeem, who is also known as Edmund. And Naeem is one of the last students to have completed the ordination program at the Temple of Goddess Spirituality under the guidance of Priestess Candace Ross. He's also the first man to have completed the ordination program there. He's a very active member of the Temple of Spirituality, and he really brought a lot of high motivation, thirst for knowledge, and strong leadership to the forefront of this new community that you guys have. So I'm so excited. I want to hear everything about Sanctuary of Solace. How did you guys get started doing this? And why have you branched off to this new thing? We did hear a little bit about your association to the temple that is here, that is also dedicated to Sekhmet, which is about an hour outside of Vegas. And you guys have branched off doing your new thing. So I'm going to leave it over to you guys, whoever wants to get started.
Thanks, Marissa. We really appreciate you asking us to spend some time with you today. Well, we just wanted to be fully inclusive. When I started to become resident priestess out at the temple, just briefly, it was made clear that they wanted to change the rules back and that Naeem would not be able to participate in ritual and so on. So rather than abide by that, I decided to step down, and that's when the three of us decided to form the Sanctuary of Solace.
That's great.
So that it can include men and women, transgender, gay, straight, doesn't matter. Everybody's welcome.
Everybody is welcome. Yes. And we feel that the goddess loves all her children.
Absolutely. I'm in agreement with that one. I'm in agreement with that one. And I know that was a big step, and that was a little bit of a controversy here in the pagan community. But you know what? I love that you guys didn't let this stop you and totally took it to a different level and branched off and did your own thing. And I think that's great. All right. So I know that a lot of you have dedication to the goddess Sekhmet. What brought you to that path? That's not, and I noticed here in the desert, we have a lot of people who are drawn to Egyptian deity and Kemetic path and that kind of thing. But so what drew you guys to Sekhmet?
Candace, you go.
Well, I have a tendency to tell stories, and sometimes they're long-winded, so interrupt me if you need to. Okay.
I would love to hear your stories, and I know everybody watching would love to hear them too.
Well, I started about 2001, I believe, 2001, walking the pagan path, and I was taking Wiccan classes at a local shop. And I heard them talking about the temple of goddess spirituality dedicated to Sekhmet. And they always spoke of it in very hushed voice, very low tone. And, I heard them say, oh, Sekhmet is a ferocious goddess. And, oh, my goodness, all that female energy out there with no male energy to confine it. Well, come on. I had to go see. So one afternoon, and it was February the 2nd, Imul. I had nothing on my calendar, so I got in the car and I drove out to Cactus Springs and found the temple. I pulled up. There was a man raking leaves. And I said, hey, can I go look at the temple? And he says, yeah, it's over there. And I walked down the path. And I went into the temple and sat at what I now know as the West Portal. And I looked at Sekhmet and I said, wow, you look familiar. You really look familiar. And then I went outside, I now know as the South Portal, and I sat on what I now know as the Moon Rock. And a lizard came out and spoke to me. We had a lovely conversation. And then I realized I could feel the earth breathing. I could literally feel the earth inhaling and exhaling. Most magical place I could think of. So I went back down the path eventually, and this woman with dark hair came out, one of the structures, and said, hey, come in, I want to talk to you. That was Crone Rich Patricia Perlman, who was there for many, many years. And she fed me chocolate and tea. And I said, I'm home.
Oh my goodness. That's wonderful. When you have those types of experiences, they're just life-changing. You just know when you're home, right?
And so many times pagans say, well, how did you become a pagan? Did you convert? No, I came home.
There
Yeah,
you go.
absolutely.
A lot of people describe it like that. They find their comfort there. So, goddess spirituality. Okay, so some people would say, why is there not that duality that you find in some other pagan paths? Do you guys work with any male deities, or that balanced, that polarity concept? Is that not something that you guys deal with in your practice?
Well, Candace wrote a huge dissertation on goddess spirituality.
It was a handout for a class.
It's very long. I was going to publish it, and I decided it was too long.
Okay.
I didn't want to cut it up.
We do goddess spirit, and some people use the phrase feminist spirituality, and I don't like that phrase.
Okay.
Because I don't know, it seems somehow excuse limiting.
It does. It sounds that way.
Yeah. So I do use the phrase goddess spirituality, and within goddess spirituality, there are many approaches, and in some groups, duality, the polarity is practiced. They do tend to feel that the goddess predates the god, that the god is an emanation of the goddess. But then within that, they're still talking about equality, that nobody is trying to oppress anybody else.
Okay. All right. I get that, and I think that's something I think a lot of people would be attracted to about your group, is because you are totally being inclusive to everyone, but your connection to deity is towards the goddess in all of her forms, yes. Right?
Remember that, women do carry both male and female babies.
They do. That's the truth. That's the truth. Okay. So what is the actual, do you have an actual tradition or a path that it's just called goddess spirituality? Do you deal with all goddesses, just Sekhmet at the sanctuary?
We've been touching on, sorry, Candace.
No, you go ahead, please. I've been talking too much.
We try to cycle through lots of different deity throughout the year. We pick, different goddesses to honor for each Sabbath, and we try to make it fresh and new for each new one, trying not to repeat just everything every year, So, right. I think we spread it around.
Okay. So you work with all different types of pantheons, whatever.
Yes.
Do you do it seasonally? Is there a way that you pick out which goddess that you're going to work with?
Oh, we
You know-
follow the wheel of the year, and then I try to figure out between myself, Candace, and Naheem, we try to figure out which deity we think is a good representation of that particular Sabbath, and then try to do a bunch of research on it, pick Candace's brain, and then we write a ritual.
Okay. That's
Our
great.
summer solstice is coming up, and we usually have that one for Sekhmet, and this year is the same. Only it will be a whole new ritual from last year. So,
And you're still doing everything online. You're not doing anything in person yet.
yes, currently.
Okay. Do you have plans to start doing things in person, or is that not yet on the table?
Well, we're working on it. We actually are in the process of trying to become the New Cups affiliate with the UU.
Okay.
And that will give us a space to have ritual, for one thing. That is
Yeah.
be able to accommodate enough people, and they have, equipment because we want to be able to now that we've been doing this online for over a year, we want to include the people who we have that come regularly that wouldn't be able to come if it was just here, because we have a lady from Germany, we have 2 or 3 people from Canada, and they join us every Sabbath. So we're going to have it to where, and when we do start doing live in-person rituals, that we would live stream it as well, so that they can still be with us.
Oh, wow. That's a great idea. Yeah, that's the good, when you're online, you have people from all over the world that, join your groups or rituals or online events, and being able to facilitate making that accessible to them still, probably they're going to love that.
Yeah.
So that's really great. And the UU is a fabulous space. There's a lot of room there. You can do a lot. So let's talk again about Sekhmet. Some people, they know what she looks like. So what would you say her personality is? What can you tell us about her? What's her mythology even? What is it about her that has her stand out from maybe some of the other goddesses?
Go ahead, Candace or Naheem.
I think you have not had a chance to speak yet, so go ahead.
My very personal experience with Sekhmet has been that fierce mother. I don't think there's a better way to describe her. She's gonna love until she needs to protect, and that's still coming out of the love that she has for her children. She can be calm and relaxed, but also very fierce, and that fire of protection, of care, that's been more my experience with her. And I feel a bit of the mythology. You can look at it from the very male perspective, where she is this deity that just goes on a killing spree because somebody's, they've gone wrong, and nobody's worshiping Ra the way they should be. Or we can see her as this person who was, so caring. And I've lost my train of thought because the dog.
I think that's a really great train of thought. Though, over my altar at home, I have a picture of a lioness with her cub, and she's holding the cub by the back, and that's how I see her. Naheem made reference to the myth of Sekhmet,
Right.
which is a puzzling myth. And I don't know if I can go into it or not. But
I would love you to tell, if you can just give, because I know a lot of people don't really know much about her.
Okay.
And well, maybe some of the people that they might know a little bit, but the myth is interesting. So if you wouldn't mind sharing it, I'd love to share that with everybody.
And I have my own little spin on it, which I mean, I had written a couple of articles on the myth, and at one point we were having a workshop, Dolly, who does a lot of writing on Egyptian themes, and I was reviewing and preparing, and I came to a different conclusion. But the myth of Sekhmet is that there were some humans that were disobeying Ra. They were disobedient humans. And Ra says, well, what should I do about it? And he goes to kind of the Council of the Gods, and they said, well, send the eye to take care of it. The eye is the uraeus that is on Sekhmet's head. And so Ra sent the eye in the form of Hathor.
Okay.
To punish the rebellious humans, to kill them, to destroy them. And so the eye destroyed the humans and said, kind of fun. Maybe I'll take the rest of them out tomorrow. And it's at that point that Sekhmet was born. So she said, and now Ra's saying, uh-oh, what have I done? And he calls it together, the Council of the Gods and the Goddesses again. And they say, well, we'll give us a red beer of some type. And when she wakes up in the morning, we'll put it in front of her and we'll see if we can distract her. She wakes up, she sees the red beer, she drinks, she gets so inebriated that she can't even identify human beings, much less kill them. And she passes out, and when she wakes up, all is good again. So my take is Sekhmet didn't kill anybody.
Okay. All right. Let's hear this.
It was Hathor. Now,
okay.
Sekhmet and Hathor are two sides of the same coin.
Okay. I got you.
But okay, so I keep saying Sekhmet's had a bad rap. But still the myth is interesting because it's that moment of inebriation. That moment when the walls fall down. That moment when you see everything as equal. When you see things in perspective and you don't take yourself quite so seriously that brings us back to balance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's, the first time I heard that story, I was like, whoa, what? I was like, because, when I first came to Vegas, I went out to the temple and I was like, Sekhmet, this is great. This is different. I usually dealt with Roman gods and goddesses, in my own practice. So this was very different for me. And I was like, this is a powerful energy. And then when I heard that story, I said, and a little scary, just a little bit.
Well, there's so many, many different aspects and they are coming out. The Egyptians held her in great esteem and loved her. I mean, if you look at all of the names of her. So I think there's much more to her story that we don't know, that's been lost in the depths of time. But, and she seems to be reappearing today. I think she carries an amazing message for us for today to bring things back into balance, to make things right. I was interviewed once, and the person on the radio, and the person interviewing me said, well, Sekhmet killed in a drunken rage. And I'm like, no,
Not what happened. Not the story, right?
Right.
So what would you say that the gifts of Sekhmet are? Like, what is it that she empowers people with? What is it that she would, what are her gifts?
I think it's courage to do what needs to be done.
And she's also a great healer.
Oh.
Some people don't realize that she's a healer.
The priests of Sekhmet in Egypt were all physicians.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow, that's interesting. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So she's really for people looking for strength and power and to be able to do what's right and what they need to do. This would be an energy to work with.
Yeah.
So is she a jealous goddess? Is she a goddess that, like, some of the gods are jealous gods. They want you to just stick with them. Is she like that?
I have not found her to be jealous. What about you?
Definitely not.
Not at all.
Yeah.
All right. And so Naheem had mentioned the mother aspect. You're talking about power and courage. How about you, Laurelyn?
Well, like I said, I love the fact that not she is the mother of all, but she's also a healer So, I mean, you can go to her for just about anything, as far as I can tell. I mean, she can both rend someone who has done you wrong, and she can heal you when you are down and sick.
Sounds
And
like a mom to me.
Oh, yeah, she's the do-it-all for you goddess.
There you go. So if like somebody's watching and they want to get started working with her, is there a way you would suggest somebody could begin to get to know her and get to know about her?
Well, I would say first study the myth, read the myth, call upon her. What all would you say?
Yeah, I would say if she, I mean, into her story, not just the little, do some deep diving, do some meditation on her. There's great meditations for Sekhmet, and see if she calls to you. And that's what happened for me. I had always followed Celtic pantheons until I went out to the temple in 2008, and that's when I met Sekhmet, and there was no turning back after that. I still have my days where I have dedication to Gaia and to DiAradia, but for the most part, my path is following Sekhmet now, and I feel like she's always there with me. But I don't think she's for everyone, and I think that that's the best way, is to try and to meditate upon her and see if she calls to them.
When I first started going out to the temple, it was something to look into the eyes of the statue and to feel like she was looking back, and it was bringing up these things inside myself, like, okay, we're going to deal with this. And it was a bit uncomfortable and unnerving sometimes, but she brings things to the forefront for you to work on. And I think that if you're going to work with Sekhmet, you kind of need to get comfortable with being a little uncomfortable at first.
Mm-hmm.
But she made you deal with shadow work.
Yes. Yeah. And I was young. I didn't know what was going on at the time, but here we are. And it, like Priestess Laurelyn said, there's no turning back, because there's that energy of home and comfort, but also she's going to let you trip over yourself and let you make the mistake like a mom. So it's an interesting feeling.
Okay. Wow. She's definitely a very interesting figure and a very interesting goddess. I mean, honestly, I went up to the temple a few times. It did not pull me in a way where I felt like that was my path. So I understand what you mean. See, I was interested. I loved the energy there, but it definitely wasn't, it just wasn't my direction. But I know there's a lot of people that would connect with that energy and just really, feel it and want to be a part of it. And I know so many people are so connected to that Egyptian energy, that, the Egyptian spirituality. And I think that she's great. She's absolutely fantastic. And now, is there a book? Is there any types of authors that you know of that people could maybe go get a book or read about Sekhmet and read about how to, I don't know, how to get
there
closer?
Are many.
Right. Well, maybe your favorite one, or something you would recommend for somebody new, somebody new to the journey.
I really like Heart of the Sun, I think.
Gee, I wonder who is involved with Heart of the Sun, an anthology in exaltation of Sekhmet, which was edited by Ann Key and myself. And it is available on Amazon. And it's got a lot of, it's an anthology, but it's got a lot of the myth, a lot of the history, and some, I think, some beautiful pieces in there by a variety of authors.
Yes, okay. Including also Candace Ross has a contribution to the book, does she not?
Yes.
And Abigail Spinner McBride is also featured in the book.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of our local people.
Right. Oh, that's very cool. And who's the author of the book?
Two editors, Ann Key.
And yourself.
And myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I do have, let's see, this charge to Sekhmet that I wrote. Well, I say I channeled it from Sekhmet. I only held the pen. She wrote it. And also the Sekhmet directions are in there, the quarter calls.
The quarter calls for Sekhmet. Okay. All right. So is this this is not like a specific tradition. This is just a dedication to Sekhmet. Okay.
Yes.
Got it. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So your online events and things that you're doing, tell me a little bit about that and tell people how they can find you.
Well, we have a Facebook page. It's Sanctuary of Solace on Facebook. We also have Instagram, which is, again, Sanctuary of Solace. We have a Twitter account, but I'm terrible about Twitter. I just can't get there.
I don't like Twitter either. I don't know if they're going to get me for that one, but I don't Twitter at all.
I just don't see the point.
We have a web page also.
And we have a website. Yes. It's sanctuaryofsolace.org.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to post the links here for you guys. And what are your next event? You were talking about the solstice event. How can people check that out if they want to?
Yeah, if they go to the website, well, they can get, there's a link on the Facebook event, which is the summer solstice, the celebration of Sekhmet, Lady of the Sun. Or on our website, there's a tab called Circles and Such. That's where all of our events are listed. And that will be the next one coming up. And then we also have, at least currently right now, we just have the meteor shower in August listed. But I only list the Sabbats as within about a month before they happen. So it's a rolling situation.
Okay. Well, what can people expect if they go to your online event? What's the format like?
Oh, we have Abigail does music for our rituals. So she sings us into circle and then also does the grounding and centering. And then we do a full reading of the ritual between several of us. Most of the time it's the three of us plus Abigail. We do have guest people once in a while. And we have a celebration period right after the meditation. And we invite everyone that's attending to share whatever they would like, a story, a poem, what they felt in the meditation. You know, we try to kind of emulate what we did out at Temple as best we can.
Virtually.
Online.
Yeah.
It lasts anywhere from 30 minutes to 45 minutes, and then we have social time afterwards until everybody's tired and wants to leave.
Okay. Well, that sounds lovely. So I did post the 2 links here. You can see them on Facebook and on YouTube in the chat here, and I will post them in the discussion area of this event and on YouTube. So if anybody comes back for a rewatch, they have all your links to connect with you.
We also have a YouTube channel.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
What?
Don't forget that one.
It's also Sanctuary of Solace. That they just search for Sanctuary of Solace.
All right, search for because I didn't have that link to copy and paste. Sorry.
Yeah, we don't. We don't pay for ours, so it doesn't give us our name as the link. It's all these letters.
Oh, you don't have to. You have to have a certain amount of members. You don't have to.
That's
have
what it is.
That's
right.
what it is. You don't have to pay for it. Yeah,
we don't have that many.
Yeah, you have to have a certain amount of. So now you have to go subscribe to them so they can get their URL, guys. Anybody watching, go subscribe to their channel. And if you haven't subscribed to Touch of Magic yet, do it. Do it. Anyway, well, it was really great having you on today. Is there anything else that you want to share about the group or anything else that you want to let people know about what you do?
I just want to reiterate that we welcome everyone, and we will keep people posted on our upcoming, hopefully, affiliation with the Universal Church and becoming the New Cups chapter, in which time then we will be definitely holding rituals there, as well as I want to start incorporating new moons and full moons, down the line. So hopefully we will be getting a lot more events in once we become affiliated and have a place to be.
That's wonderful. That's great.
Stay
And then,
tuned.
and it's so much closer than the other temple. That that was so far. I mean, it's pretty far from me over to the UU, but not much shorter than going out there. And so you don't do anything out at the other temple anymore?
No, we do not.
No. Are they still operating?
We don't know much about what they're doing. They're not posting anything, so we don't know.
You don't know. All right. Well, anyway, I'm glad you're all doing stuff, so that's wonderful. Anyway, thank you so much for coming on. It was great speaking with you. We have another show coming up on Saturday, on June 11th, Psychic Saturday, guys, and we've got Karma Steele on at 5:00. And if you want to be a guest, come on for any of the segments, either Psychic Saturday, Witch Talk Wednesday, or our main show on Sundays. You can feel free to reach out to me anytime and let me know, what you've got and what you want to talk about. I love having people on and chatting with them. And until then, remember to be the magic, because you are the magic, and that is a fact. And I'll see you soon.
Thanks a lot, Marissa.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
You.
Thank